Hello, everybody, and welcome to our call here on June 9th. I am your host, Rachel, and I'm here today with Ashar to talk about what API 3 is doing for developer outreach and our new Developer Champion Initiative. You want to introduce yourself a little bit, Ashar?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Ashar. I work at API 3 primarily on the protocol side. I'll be transitioning more to the developer champion side now to help developers build on top of our products that we'll be rolling out in the coming months. And I'm excited to make that transition.
Yeah, awesome. So that's what we're going to be talking about on this call today is kind of developer outreach, the stuff that we've done very recently, and the new kind of products that we want to showcase and what we're going to do in the future. But first, we're going to have a little recap of stuff that's happened because we've been kind of busy recently with stuff. So you remember a couple of weeks ago, we had Dr. Trainer and Barack on to talk about QRNG, and we recently had a few uses of QRNG, including a whitelist lottery for some NFTs and some other cool stuff like that. So I think that's exciting to see like QRNG just recently released, but we've already got people using it and finding kind of innovative ways to use it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I'm quite surprised that we've already gotten a lot of new and interesting applications of QRNG. I get DMs in my Discord constantly about how do I use this QRNG to get this data, and I've seen a lot of lottery applications, a lot of people forking other lottery applications and trying to use QRNG in those applications. So yeah, I'm genuinely surprised by how fast QRNG has picked up within the dev community.
I think that's really cool because it definitely shows like this is something that didn't really exist that people wanted, right? It
Right.
was something that nobody had kind of identified as something that people wanted. And now that
Mhm.
it's here, people are excited about it and they're using it. And I
Mhm.
mean that's really what it's about at the end of the day is we make stuff and we want to see people use it
Yeah,
and find new ways to innovate with it. So
yep, definitely. And I think one of the biggest reasons is that it's available on so many chains that before you didn't have randomness on a lot of these chains that now QRNG enables. Uh, and so with that randomness, now you can make these other interesting applications on these chains, and that helps the whole ecosystem as a whole. Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was really cool when we launched, and it was like what 13 chains or something like
Yep.
that. So developers, not just from your typical the big chains, that people think of, developers from any of these chains could pick this up and use it in their stuff. So I think
Yep.
that's awesome. We also had recently we had Uger give a talk on API 3 at the Oracle Summit in Berlin and engage with some people out there. So I think that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
AccuWeather also launched their own Air node, Oracle node. So their weather API is on Web3. So that's pretty cool. And kind of related to what you're here to talk about today, we had a demo day with Optimism on their Discord, and you and Ben did some cool stuff there. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So we basically showcased how QRNG works, how easy it is to make a demo application using QRNG with just a few lines in your smart contract. You can basically use QRNG and uh, use it without paying any cost other than gas. And I think the demo was well received, and I think having a source of randomness on chains like Optimism, these rollups, um, a fast source basically that can you can get randomness pretty quickly is kind of essential. And we've known that other randomness services often take time to return the data, and for fast chains like Optimism, I think QRNG is definitely very helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's really your role now as well as being a was it core developer? You have a fancy title. What's the title? Core developer lead?
Core protocol developer.
Core protocol developer. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. You do the smart things with the code that I'm not necessarily super well versed on, but you make it happen. So,
Mhm.
and you also are working on our new developer champion initiative. So,
Mhm.
you want to talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah. So the goal of these initiatives, now that we have sort of finalized our protocols, we have finalized our contracts, we have products rolling out, what we can now do is we can start showcasing how you can use these products in your own smart applications. And the best way to showcase that is by, obviously you can create your own and then have people give them a guide on see, this is something we've built, and you can follow along and create your own unique and interesting things. And that's the guide, that's the direction we'll be taking with this developer champion initiative.
So that's what you did at Optimism, right? When you talked with them,
I
was
mean,
you had like,
Optimism was sort of like a scaled down version of that, in that
mm,
since you only had 10 minutes to showcase something, I just quickly spun up a demo contract and showed how easy it is. But this is more like a more full-fledged version in which you will have detailed guides, you will have uh, a detailed end product, which actually, if you didn't know you could that this was made as a showcase, you would think it was like a real product. But
mm.
so that's the goal with this whole initiative, is that we have these end-to-end functioning products that people can sort of follow along with our guides that will be published along with them, and also create something that looks just as good or even better.
That's really cool. And I think that's awesome for people, especially like maybe if you just got kind of one toe in the water on development and you're like, I really want to get deeper into it, but I'm not really sure what to do, or maybe I just need a little bit of inspiration, right? And then you see like, oh, look, here's these guides and here's this kind of sample that's already pretty much just done, right? You can
Yep.
add your own stuff to it and roll out something that, like you said, looks like a real product, right?
Hmm.
I think that'll be really helpful to get people more excited about development and developing new things. And like you said, we put QRNG out there and people have already come up with a bunch of stuff we didn't expect
Hmm.
to use it. So maybe with these tutorials and with the example pieces that you are putting together,
Hmm.
people will do the same thing. I think that's the goal, right?
Yeah, that's the goal, that people use these guides and use these resources to build new and interesting things. And I think one of the problems with Web3 is there there are very few end-to-end guides out there. You have bits and pieces everywhere, but you don't really have a full cohesive guide to follow things along with. And I think that's one of the aims that we intend to fulfill with this initiative, is that we give the developers, the people who have the imaginative minds, the ability to sort of build things out without having to worry about the technicalities and stuff like that.
And so I know you're going to be doing some stuff, even I think tomorrow with
Mhm.
Polygon. There's
Yeah.
a talk coming up.
Hmm.
And you've done some test projects for that. Can you give just kind of like a little teaser of what that test project might look like?
Sure. So what uh, I've actually come up with a project so to sort of build up excitement around QRNG, because QRNG is pretty cool, right? You have this whole quantum phenomena that's generating these random numbers. So you could generate basically QRNG based NFTs, and that in itself is a very cool concept. So our first project, my first project as like the developer champion initiative, is called Quantumons, which are uh, QRNG based NFTs that will be minted using QRNG. So, Quantumons are basically these creatures that exist in the quantum realm, and using QRNG, they're manifested into our reality and in the form of NFTs. And so, that's I think a pretty cool concept, and we can have like we can distribute these quantumons to the entire API 3 community, and also show them how they can mint their own quantumons using guides and other bits and pieces.
That's really cool. I like that. I like especially because like I do a lot of kind of creative art stuff, graphic design and all that, but I'm not super great at code. And I think NFTs are really awesome because they kind of bridge the two communities, right? Like you need a developer to kind of make the NFT minting and the contract kind of process happen, but you also need creative minds that can make art and concepts for the little bit of kind of backstory that you just said, quantum, beings that inherit that, they inhabit that realm, and then they get pulled into our realm by the quantum machine, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. It's creative writing, it's art, and it's coding kind of all put together. I really think NFTs are cool because of that.
Yep. And the cool thing about Quantumons is they're all generated via AI using the seed that you get from the quantum random number. So in a way, it is the Quantumon is entirely dependent on the number that you've received from the quantum realm. So I think that's like pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, I also agree. It's super cool. And you're going to show that like in detail in the event tomorrow. You want to talk about kind of what that event is going to be and when it's going to be for the people that might be listening?
Sure. I think the event tomorrow is at 8:30 a.m. EST, and it's an event between Polygon and API 3. So we will be co-hosting this event. We'll be going in depth about what QRNG is, how you can use QRNG, and then we'll also be showcasing Quantumons and how basically how each Quantumon might look like, what the lore of the whole universe is. So it's going to be a pretty in-depth call, and I look forward to everyone being there.
Yeah. And you're going to be going deep into the like technicality of like how to make this happen.
Yep.
And if you're interested in making your own kind of version of this contract,
Yep.
or using QRNG to make your own
Yep.
NFTs, right?
Of course, I won't go over the in that call, but yeah,
Mm.
I would sort of showcase like that we will have in-depth guides on how to make your own Quantumons that will be released sometime next week, and using those guides, you can of course build your own Quantumons. You can build the website to mint the Quantumons and other things like that. So yeah.
So where will these resources be hosted once you publish everything?
So these will be available on our docs, api3.org. You will have there'll be a showcase section, and in the showcase section, we'll host Quantumons, and the docs on how to build the Quantumons themselves will also be available there as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So people can check that out sometime next week if they want to get started making their own quantum somethings, quantum characters, quantum plants, quantum
Yep,
dogs, something like that,
yep, definitely.
Um, and if you want to hear more about it kind of in detail, you can get on the Polygon event tomorrow, right?
Yep, definitely.
Awesome. Cool. So like as somebody who wants to reach out to other developers and kind of foster the creativity there, what's some kind of things that you might be thinking about doing as outreach in the future, as well as
Uh,
this QRNG kind of launch?
So the whole goal of this is making all of this knowledge accessible to everyone. Of course, we also want to actively reach out to developers as a whole, and we might do events and hackathons and all of those things that we've already done at Denver and other events. But we will also actively be doing those. Um, in other areas, we'll also be doing workshops like the one we did with Optimism, so that we can actively showcase how easy it is in a very short time span, because these projects might take a little longer, probably a day to set up, or I wouldn't say a day, but like much longer than 10 minutes. But so yeah, um, that's what we've planned for these dev initiatives. And I think uh, like in coming up, we have a lot of cool projects planned with QRNG itself, like a lottery system, and yeah, like betting sites and stuff like that. So um, yeah, that's the
No,
current
yeah,
plan. Yeah.
that's awesome. And again, every like kind of project that you make is going to be available with documentation on kind of here's how to start your own project up on
Yep.
our website.
Yep.
Very awesome. And we said it a couple times here on the community calls before, but if you want to reach out and talk to anybody if you have a project that you're thinking of, but you don't quite know if this would be compatible with it or how to implement it, Discord is a great place to get into contact with us. Ashar, you're on Discord, the API3 Discord, and
Yep.
all of our other kind of developers and other people are on the Discord as well. And people are really responsive. So if you just get in there and ask questions, somebody will help you out. Like
Yeah.
we've been saying, we want people to use the stuff. We want people to build and get creative. So
Yeah. I mean, I think the best place to ask questions is in our dev support. If you have dev related questions in the dev support channel. Um, but yeah, I think we typically respond within 5 to 6 hours at most. It's usually quicker than that, and we definitely look forward to like anyone building things with us. So um, don't be shy to reach out or like ask even dumb questions. I've
no
seen
question's a dumb question, right?
no, I've seen a lot of people be like, "Sorry for disturbing you. Sorry for asking you questions repeatedly," and I'm like, "That's totally fine. You don't need to worry about that." Um, and I've gotten into like long discussions in personal DMs, trying to explain things to people, and I think that's part of the reason why we all like the Web3 community is that we have people helping each other trying to learn these things. But making this knowledge accessible is also I think a key component of the community that we haven't done yet, and that's what this whole initiative is about, is to make the knowledge more accessible and not just a closed system where like you have it within your Discord or things like that.
Yeah, it can definitely be kind of a barrier to entry for people if they're like, oh, Web3 is cool, blockchain is cool, NFTs are cool, but I don't really know where to start. And maybe I found one piece of a tutorial here that helps me for one aspect of my project, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know where the rest of this is or who to talk to, or okay, I want to make it on this chain, but I don't have a tutorial for this chain yet because nobody's done this project on this chain and stuff like that. And kind of having everything in a centralized location, even though we're decentralized,
Mm-hmm.
is pretty cool because people can just kind of go there and check it out, right?
Yep, definitely. I think that a huge barrier to entry in Web3 is this lack of information and this need to like constantly go and talk to people to learn things. Um, while that does promote engagement in a way, but it does also take away like the amount of people who would have developed if there was more information that was accessible. Um, if you look at for the simplest of things, you need to go to Discord of this particular project or things like that. And I think as coders we are probably not the most extroverted people, and so we typically shy away from engaging on with other people. And
Yeah, you're like, I just want a blog post that tells me how to do this, right? Or a
yeah,
YouTube video that tells I don't want to go talk to somebody, right?
exactly,
If I don't
right,
have to. But if you kind of
exactly.
have it accessible where at least, you have the majority of the tutorial as detailed as it can be online somewhere where anybody can just go check it out at their own leisure, on their own time.
Yep.
And then maybe, okay, I've got 99% through this project, but there's this one little thing that's not quite working. Okay, now I'm
Mhm.
going into the Discord and I'm talking to the devs, but that's not like something that you have to do. It's just optional if you want to chat with people. So
Yep.
yeah, awesome. Well, I think it
Mhm.
sounds really good. I think this is gonna get stuff moving, get people using things, get people inspired. And like you said, we're gonna be kind of going on to a lot of different chains and protocols and talking to people um, from a kind of diverse chunk of the Web3 space. So I think that's super
Yeah.
exciting. Let's check Twitter for a second and see if anybody has commented asking any questions. I don't see any yet, but
Mhm.
that probably means they don't have any. But people are excited, and I see excitement in the YouTube chat as well. And I appreciate that because it's nice to see the community respond back. Um,
That's good.
but yeah, so there's going to be the Polygon event coming up tomorrow, right? Or today,
Mhm.
tomorrow. Time zones are pretty crazy. It's today
uh, Today
for
for
me,
you and tomorrow
tomorrow
for
for you.
yeah.
I think that's pretty nice that we've kind of got people all over the place. And like you said, people respond in like 5 to 6 hours. That's because somebody's awake
Yeah.
around the world on the team, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And like we've been saying, the tutorials for the projects will be available in probably the next week or so of the projects you're going to be talking about. And you'll be able to find those on the API 3 website, right?
Yep, you should be able to find them on our showcase
Awesome.
section.
One more little check. I don't see any question comments, but do you have anything else to say today, Ashar?
Not really. Just keep following the API 3 Twitter account. We'll have these projects showcased over there. You can follow me on Twitter as well, and I'll be posting tidbits on what I'm working on. And you can follow Rachel to follow when the next community call is. And I think she does a lot of creative work on her end as well. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, I think this has been awesome. I got to learn a little bit more about what you're planning on doing, and I'm excited to see where that goes in the future. And thank you very much for being on the call with me today.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, so this has been our community call for June 9th. I will see you guys on the next call.